This is Sheila Corona, and we're back with Handbook for the New Paradigm, Volume 3, Becoming. We are going to begin here on page 332, Session 3, Transmission 32. The empowerment of humanity is of the utmost importance in the outcome of the entire scenario. This is why, in my view, we see so much about we the people, about it being important that everyone get into their own discernment and know what it is that you really want to experience moving forward, right? I mean, on the biggest, most expansive level, that's what I see the overall energetic being, right? It's all about sovereignty. The empowerment of humanity is of the utmost importance in the outcome of the entire scenario. This empowerment cannot come from the outside. This is an inside job that each individual human must accomplish on his or her own. I'm sure there are loads of folks out there that are all too happy. I am all too happy to talk to anybody about this. But don't be thinking you're going to come to me for an answer about anything. All I do is point people back to their own words and their own internal landscape, because that's where it's at, is taking personal responsibility in every single thought and every single, it all has to get the minute I'm triggered about something, whoever triggered me might as well walk away, because it has to do with me, not them. I mean, that's the way I see it for myself. Um, this is an inside job that each individual human must accomplish on his or her own. This is not to say that there is not guidance available to trigger and assist. And if we would stop looking at each other as, oh, I can't hang out with you because you trigger me, instead of, oh, thank you for triggering me, so now I can see myself, right? That's part of it. It's easy to not be triggered if we're not exposing ourselves to things, right? These messages are the perfect example, as are the comments, articles, books, and all other triggering phenomena that are available to accomplish the awakening of each and all. The overload of media availability to many of the current world inhabitants serves the awakening purposes as much as it does as a mesmerizing tool. It takes constant reinforcement to keep the lid on conscious awareness. Notice it's almost like whack-a-mole in regards to that. However, sudden discernment can cause all of the cleverly layered programming to fall away and understanding to instantly awaken when the proper triggers are activated. Luckily for me, that happened piecemeal over time. Some big things triggered, and it happened piecemeal over time. But hey, big things can happen too. Things that you might want to judge as awful or horrendous, but had they not happened, maybe you wouldn't have awakened, right? So, a simple statement that makes total logical sense within the thinking/nervous system connection causes a realization to register throughout the awareness, and in that moment, there is a change in the the ability to receive thought as hitherto gone unheard and unnoticed. It is this process that is the purview of the ground crew, right? Those I don't know if I call myself part of the ground crew, but those who are looking into themselves. The agreed upon focus of the quote ground crew involves the awakening process as well as the primary focus of the desire for the new paradigm of experience through quote outgrowing of the victim experience and accepting the responsibility for changing the human experience on this planet. All who respond to this challenge are capable of accomplishing it, or the goal would not have appealed to each in the first place. In other words, I wouldn't have been called to this path and I wouldn't feel driven to move along this path if I couldn't accomplish it. And I do feel like that's true. The quote, Johnny Appleseeds who plant idea seeds are, quote, heaven sent to do this. Consider carefully this idiom of speech. Many common sayings, when heard in the new context of change, have been speaking to the consciousness of each for a long time. Those will henceforth have great meaning and will trigger consciousness changes as they are noticed. It sure has for me. The awakening process is ongoing once it is begun. Like a good mystery story, one clue leads to another in an ever deepening commitment, and synchronicities will become a way of life. That's true. Pointing me in the right direction. Go here, just do this now. Chance comments, a word, a storyline, a news note, a music earworm in one's head, all will fit into a different context than previously. Particular friendships will have greater meaning, and others will diminish in importance as the focus of interest changes. The work, the focus of what is necessary to accomplish, will redefine the thoughts and the available time. The natural realignment to what is important will change with the little direct attention as far as the personal life is concerned. When the focus and the intent are upon the outcome of being, quote, for the highest and best good for all concerned, it will happen of its own accord. What will be accomplished depends upon the strength of the foundation set forth in the very beginning. The simple statements of intent, such as help for all humans becoming, and for the highest and best good of all concerned, set that foundation upon a firm and level beginning, for they broaden the focal point beyond the personal scope, while yet including it. The globalization of interaction and activity by humanity at this time no longer allows for experiential change to be limited to a country, a continent, or a hemisphere. In order to accomplish the transcendence of humanity on this planet as a whole, it was necessary for there to be an inclusive global consciousness. Until this was possible, change was only piecemeal and easily destroyed from within, as well as through direct intervention by those who plan to continue their control. In considering the picture from a linear event observational mode, timing seems inordinately important. Within the understanding that a picture of wholeness can be filled in by events and circumstances that do not appear to be happening in a sequential mode, it is difficult for those participating to ascertain and comprehend the larger picture. And that's what I mean when I say folks going about their everyday business, doing their stuff, that don't even realize what they're doing are contributing. Without understanding accomplishments as they fit within the bigger picture, it requires great self discipline to hold the desired outcome firmly in intentional focus. It is because the increasing inflow of newly awakening awareness requires those of greater understanding to constantly redefine the purpose and the intent. This then, in turn, refreshes and renews their own focus. I feel like that's true. From an energetic pattern point of view, this provides for a spiraling of greater available dynamism. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, Lisa and I, about how sometimes it feels like, hey, I feel like we're at 2016 again. Don't it feel like 2016? Some people have said it feels like 2019, but that it's like a wrong, it's not quite exact, right? But it's given that kind of vibe. It's that kind of feeling right there, that greater available dynamism. That does feel like that's a real thing right now, too. It is the entry of more and new awakening awareness that provides this important momentum and allows for a continued increase of available energy that offsets the inevitable fallout of those without the ability to maintain their commitment. Many of these will be drawn back into the activity and again provide the addition of needed impetus. As the focused pattern begins to clarify and increase in momentum, its drawing magnetism will begin to be felt within the planetary mass consciousness. Well, that's a very real phenomenon, and I feel like that is happening already. It is when the pattern begins its clarification and its energy begins to draw from the negative focus that the greatest difficulty will be encountered. The assumed superiority of that group is unquestioned in their minds. Thus, they feel little, if any, concern about the attempts being made to organize groups to change the perceived future of Earth and its population. It is the lack of organization and the emphasis on individual change and participation that does now and will continue to allow the transcendence of consciousness to reach the momentum and pattern clarity necessary to change the synthesis of mass consciousness. That right there is saying to me that by my continuing to focus only on that which I know I can change, which is only me and my perspective and my thought patterns, my programming, anything that has to do with me, that adds to the transcendence. It can continue to allow the transcendence of consciousness to reach the momentum and pattern clarity necessary. Wow. Once this point is reached, then the methodology as employed by them to control large segments of the mind of humanity will erode quickly. I think that's happening now, provided the momentum can be maintained. Indeed, critical points will be reached and must be moved through. It is then, in answer to focused and deliberate requests, that outside help can intercede in subtle ways that will assist in moving through those crisis moments. Quote, help to become will be answered. Thinking will provide the exact needed assistance It will not come as intervention. Get that through our heads. There are no saviors. Save yourself. But as assistance. It will not come as intervention, but as assistance. There is a very important nuance in the different meanings of those words to be contemplated and understood. Yes, one, it means you require rescue, meaning you're a victim, and we have to move out of that. There will be no mass invasion of extraterrestrial ships to rescue humanity. That will not that would not allow mankind to work out its own solution to the dilemma in which it is now embroiled. At all times, humanity must create its own solution to invoking a new destiny story. There must be no misunderstanding of that fact. Victimhood and galactic citizenship are two opposite poles of experience to be understood and deliberately chosen. This is done by way of myriad small decisions and actions as experienced on a daily basis by individuals in their own life experiences. These experiences then gather their own energy pattern, reflecting a larger experience by an intentionally focused group of humanity. That is what will bring about the changes so greatly desired, prayed, and begged for by suffering humanity through this long and difficult period of its history. Wow. That was number 32. And that's it for me today. I will be putting all of these out. Today is the 17th of August. And I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. Take a look at all of what you are doing and the reasons for it, because if it's tied to any sort of victim consciousness or trauma, because trauma, for me, victim consciousness and trauma really go hand in hand. And there's not a being on this planet that hasn't been traumatized just by the very virtue of getting our programming into us from the time we're children. I don't care how great a childhood you had, there's trauma there. Because just by the very virtue of what it is to learn to be human, honestly, that in my view. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. I hope it was helpful for you. Until we meet again, be well, my friends.